Syracuse. And to talk about what Syracuse needs to do later in this season, we have our softball beat reporter Adam Gotkin, who's been hanging around, writing game recaps all year. Now he gets to hop out of his dorm room, go down to SU softball stadium, and actually writes and get some game recaps in on camera. That's got to be pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I've been stretching, getting ready, and I think it's time to start running.
If you're stretching and running, that means Adam is running the bases. Let's go.
2022 was a historic season for Syracuse softball. For the first time under head coach Gotkin, the team finished above 500 and the Cuse won an ACC tournament game. Coming into 2023, the team brought back almost all of its production. ERA leader Lindsey Hendricks and the team's top hitter Angel Hasso are both back. 6 other starters returned in the field. That gave the team a free pass to first base. In addition to the returners, the Orange had a historic recruiting class. Extra Innings Softball ranks this year's class as the 13th best in the nation. This class is headlined by Madison Knight, a two-way out of Maryland. Knight was named the Gatorade Player of the Year in both her junior and senior seasons. In addition to Knight, Ryan Starr, Jackie Pengel, Trinity Nichols, Lauren Vaughn, and the local star Kate D'Orazio moved the team to second. Another one of these diaper dandies who I didn't even mention has been a huge part of the team's recent success. Madeline Lopez currently leads the squad in average and on-base percentage. Lopez wasn't even a starter at the beginning of the year, and last week she accumulated 6 hits over 5 games. On the season, she's been perfect in the field. The Texans' performance moves the Orange another 60 feet forward. So, what does Syracuse have to do to go all the way home? Well, the under 500 record is a bit deceiving. The Cuse has played the top 2 teams in the ACC already, Clemson and Florida State. Syracuse hasn't even played a home game yet. Last year, the Orange went 8-5 at Skytop Softball Stadium. Only one of SU's remaining ACC opponents is above 500 in conference play. The Cuse also play UAlbany, Cornell, Binghamton, and Colgate before the season ends. All beatable teams. Zach and Trey, I'll pitch it back to you guys. After a 26-game road trip to start its season, Syracuse softball made its return home today. The Orange hosted Louisville in a doubleheader, and well, things didn't go the way that the Cuse would have hoped. Syracuse was swept, dropping Game 1 5-3 and Game 2 via the run rule 8-0. The biggest issue on the pitching side was, well, Syracuse allowed Louisville to hit too many balls over the outfield fence, resulting in home runs, and they weren't just solo shots. They were home runs with runners on.
It's the walks before the home runs that are killing us. I mean, that game, there was a walk, home run, walk, home run, walk, home run. So, the difference of a 3-run game and an 8-run game.
If you're going to allow those big flies, then the offense also has to contribute, or else it's a recipe for disaster. And, well, of course, the offense did not show up today. Coach Gotkin, she was quite honest after the game about what she thought about her team's performance at the plate.
Terrible. I mean, we knew timing was going to be an issue. It's been an issue pretty much the entire season. Last weekend, obviously, I thought we swung it pretty well and we figured some things out. And today was another one of us just not being able to get on time.
Honestly, I think just kind of going off what we did last week against Notre Dame, kind of being more aggressive at the plate. It seems kind of a little bit we were inconsistent with that. Putting in work and be ready to attack tomorrow.
Well, the Orange can fix their issues both in the circle and at the plate tomorrow at noon in the series finale against the Cardinals. Reporting from Skytop Softball Stadium, Adam Gotkin, Citrus TV.
I think of north of 70. I think of the sunshine of clear skies. I mean, that's what we had in Clearwater when there aren't tornadoes around. That's what we have at the World Series.
Warm weather and the outdoors aren't two things you hear much of in Syracuse this time of year. The average high in February is 34 degrees. The college softball season starts in early February. That means the Orange have to hit the road. Every week starts at Manley Fieldhouse, where the Cuse practice. From there, it's travel time. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, Syracuse has gone down to Florida, North Carolina, and South Carolina on the weekends. Sundays, the team makes the trip back north, and then they do it all over again the next week.
Whew. It never gets easier, I gotta tell you. You would think that I've got it down by now, but it's truly just kind of stressful every time, just balancing work, especially being a senior now and being in some upper level classes. It's kind of hard, but I love it. I love it regardless, even though it's hard. I love the challenge.
3 tournaments in, the Orange sit at 6-6. Up next, Syracuse has its first taste at ACC play. The 'Cuse travel down to South Carolina for a 3-game series with Clemson. And then it's still exactly a month to go until the 'Cuse have their first home game here at SU Softball Stadium, which, if you can't tell by behind me, is not exactly in playing shape at the moment. But until then, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Adam_Gotkin for all in-game updates and everything else you need to know Syracuse softball. Reporting from the SU Softball Stadium, Adam Gotkin, Citrus TV.
This is Newhouse at Night. Hear tomorrow's star broadcasters today, live on QSportsTalk.com and ESPN Radio Syracuse.
And with that, a warm welcome into Hour 2 on this Tuesday night of Newhouse at Night here on ESPN Radio Syracuse. And we're back, Adam, after a week off last week due to the Syracuse men's basketball game. We are back in action. I'm Sam Reese. Alongside me is Adam Gotkin. And without further ado, we got a lot to talk about considering we haven't been on the airwaves for 14 days. We'll start it all off, Adam, with the big game over the weekend. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. That was Syracuse men's basketball taking on Duke. A great atmosphere as anticipated at the Dome, but unfortunately that couldn't be backed up on the floor by the Orange as they fell to the Blue Devils 77-55 to drop to a 16-11 record on the season. Adam, we'll just get straight into it. Your first thoughts after what was a disappointing loss, it's fair to say.
It was embarrassing. It was bad. And how can you still call this a rivalry? Because if you think about it like this, when you think about what are the tenets of a rivalry, close back and forth games, one team wins each year, I'd say is one, and then the other is history. There's no history between these two teams. No. You had 2 historic coaches when it was Boeheim and Krzyzewski, but there's been, less than 30 meetings between these two teams. How is this a rivalry? Duke dominates. They dominate year in, year out. There was a big draw, but even then, the atmosphere in the student section was not great right near the hoop. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but I will because I don't think this is something that many people know. So I was right behind the hoop in the section behind the hoop in the student section. Got there about an hour and a half early, and there were already a lot of people there.
Yes.
The people there did not care about the game. The sororities make the freshmen who are being initiated go to the game 2 hours early so that they can, I guess, they make all these signs and stuff like that. So they make them all go.
And get their Instagram pics.
Some of them were into the game, but all 3 rows in front of me, the people were not standing. They were sitting on their phones during the game.
Wow.
And we were right behind the basket in the best seats, and they were sitting on their phone. And I'm going to go back to last week, the NC State game.
Yeah.
People were yelling at me for standing in the student section of a college basketball game. What is going on in Syracuse? I can't go on with this anymore. You're standing in the student section. You stand in the student section. And I was getting yelled at. People were like, sit down. What are you doing? What are you doing here? And even for the Duke game, yes, you had 8,000 students, but they weren't given anything to cheer for. I mean, and the ones that were there, at least where I was, they were sitting down during the game. The culture around this team, the culture around this program has just, it's at the dirt right now. It should be like this for every game. It should have been, 8,000 fans. It should be like that. People should be getting excited. There should be the Castle Court being filled up before games, this whole game day atmosphere. This was the only game of the year that we had it, and it was an embarrassing performance on the court. I'll finally talk about what we saw on the court after my little rage that I just had to get through because, my goodness, I've never been that mad in my entire life because it's college basketball. The crowds make college basketball. But enough rage to the game itself.
Yeah.
It's what I've been saying all year long. Syracuse is just not there. Well, you could say the best part about them this year is that they're athletic. Duke's athleticism was on another level.
Yeah.
Syracuse didn't really do anything right in this game. Judah Mintz played pretty well, but even then, it just wasn't enough. Jesse Edwards was a total flop, and it's just bad from this team overall. It's hard to put into words because it was that bad, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, right out of the gates, Adam, not only critical of the team, but the student section and fan base itself. That's fair enough. It was that type of weekend where you got to let it all out, right?
And the Cadets trail by 13. St. John's, a story that has captivated the entire nation. Their head coach, Pat Behan, currently in a battle with ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. He's been the coach since
2017, 2018, and this is the best year the team has had under Coach Behan, as a turnover there on the full court press, and St. John's still battling with 5:42 to go.
It's what you got to do. You just want to, of course, initially get it under 10, and then once it's under 10, start whittling it down to the 7 or 6 point range, put some pressure on the Tigers.
And back to Coach Behan and back to being strong. You can tell that he's starting to, lose it a little bit. That's what ALS does, such a crippling disease. But it gives this team, when you hear the players talk about it, so much more, because they know that it's more than about them, that they have more to fight for, and that they have the eyes on them. And this is a team that's lived up to the moment so far. They beat PVI in the WCAC championship game, and you know they're never going to give up today.
Well, here we go, down by 11. Do they have a stop in them?
Rob Dockery on the right wing. Backing in on Donnie Freeman. Dockery falls to the ground, and a big boy rebound there for Donnie Freeman. Quickly up the floor with Totley. Into the corner. 3 ball from Newman. No. Offensive rebound, though, for Zion Chase. And they'll reset with Malik Mack. Under 5 to go. Mack driving in through contact. Yep. 2 free throws and a chance to make it a single-digit game.
Now we're seeing it. They pulled that ball out. They went high pick and roll with the 2 studs on the squad. Malik Mack went directly into the chest of Jaden Ford, draws the foul, and heads to the line for 2.
Malik Mack knocks down the first. And again, the Jackson Reed crowd not too happy with that call. Our apologies on some of the noise that's coming through our headsets. Not the nicest words to hear. 10-point game. Mack to make it single digits. Crowd getting into it. Mack knocks it down, and it's a 9-point game. St. John's in the full court press again. Trapped in the corner, stolen by Mack. Mack misses the dunk. Donnie Freeman, though, there for the putback.
And just like that, Malik Mack, Donnie Freeman, it's a 7-point ball game, Adam.
7-point ball game, and T. Johnson calls a timeout for Jackson Reed. With that, we'll take a quick break. 4:37 to go, and we've got a game here. 4:37 remaining. Adam Gotkin and Chad Ricardo with you here courtside John Thompson Court on the campus of Georgetown University, McDonough Gymnasium. St. John's trails Jackson Reed by 7. And St. John's again employing their full court press, which has been stifling in the past few minutes. Dockery in the corner, trapped, has an outlet in Joe McRae. And they break it this time with Brimage, and now Dockery again. Shot clock down to 10. Dockery working on Chase, and it's a charge. Offensive foul on Rob Dockery. St. John's with possession, trailing by 7.
And if you were the Cadets now, keep doing exactly what got you here. You've got 2 outstanding student athletes in Malik Mack and Donnie Freeman. Milk that cow.
That was the 3rd foul on Rob Dockery. Mack. Newman floats it up off the back iron. Offensive rebound. Freeman the putback. And he's taken over.
Donnie Freeman, offensive rebound, cuts it to 5, and mama, there goes that man.
Over halfway through the 4th quarter now, 5-point game. Fort having the game of his life. It's now Dockery. The pick and roll with Dockery and Fort. Dockery all the way. Gets it to go.
And I tell you what, you cut this lead to 5 right there. If I'm Coach Behan, I want Donnie Freeman to challenge that shot. Don't try to take the charge there. Go up and block that shot.
Zion Chase and Malik Mack halfway through the shot clock. Down by 7. St. John's looking to get their offense going. Mack. Pass down low. Through contact. It won't go. For Zion Chase, trying to get it back. Last touch by Chase out of bounds, and Jackson Reed will take possession.